Okay then, so it's raining today. We've got to get another car in the workshop and we need a lot of space, so we're having to move. Long-term project, Formula Tron. Formula Tron with its big wing, 24-inch wheels. We got this crazy like body. We got suicide doors, full cage, all of that. Under the bonnet, whoa! We got a big LS400 Lexus V8, and what else have we got? Unfinished lights and stuff, front's not done yet. And if we look from the back around the other side, we've got all this badass body kit, crazy aero, all of this moves with the bonnet, super cool wing mirrors. When this is done, really, this will have it all. This is amazing. But for now, we're going to put it in our storage unit, and that's going to have to wait for a couple of projects' time. But tune in, it will be here on Custom Works. Custom Works now coming to you from a workshop that for once I've actually cleaned. Oh my God, I genuinely have. I've painted the floor, I've de-dusted everywhere, because for just maybe only 2 episodes, we're going to do some mechanical stuff. I wonder how that's going to go. All on our new project, and our new project is... Dun, 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 dun. It is the 1958 Standard Ensign, or as I call it, the non-standard. It has been lowered, they've got stretch front, custom bonnet, custom grille, loads of stuff. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing some mechanical stuff on this, because of course it's been lowered a lot, it's been messed about with a lot. We're going to make it drive really nice, we're going to do some modifications to the fuel system, and then we're going to give it an amazing 2-tone paint job so it looks even more retro than it does now, because we've got some faults with the paint and we could just paint it grey, but what sort of like custom guy would I be if I just repaired the paint? Of course I've got to do some custom stuff. I've got to change it, got to make it better. So this is our new project, 1958, non-standard. Let's get to work. Okay then, so if you haven't seen this car before, if you look back through all of our videos, you'll find a special all about this car. And you know, we show all the quirks and features that are on this car. And you can watch that there and get a real background. We did sort of sort some of the problems out there, but we're going to go in a little bit deeper now. So we've got it in the workshop, it's up on the jacks, and for once we're going to make it right. Okay then, so this week's been really good in our house, because we got a new living room rug. It doesn't really mean anything to me, but what it does mean is I get the old rug. So I get the old living room rug and I can roll this, roll it under, and I can lay in absolute comfort. Oh, so fuzzy. Okay then, so we are under the car here, and I'm having a look around. One of the first things I can see, there's a lot of sort of clanking and stuff under this car, and I think it is, if I can get it, I think just here on the prop shaft, just there, and also just here, the handbrake cable is rubbing, and if you can see, the handbrake cable comes along here and goes in a massive loop there. To be honest, it's probably the wrong handbrake cable, and then it goes to where it has to go to. But yeah, I think that is going to be something we're going to have to sort out. So what I'll probably do is re-clip this over here to the bottom of this footwell and get some P-clips on there and see if that that is any better. Oh, I'm under the car, and it's luxury. Luxury, I tell you, luxury. I've been under there, went under there last night, and there was a few bits that weren't too good. So the handbrake cable was catching on the prop shaft because the car's lowered a lot. And we moved it out of the way, P-clipped it back to the floor, and that's all good. Also, I fitted seatbelts to this car, and because it had none at standard, and they were catching on the actual prop shaft, so I've trimmed those back, so that should be another one of the noises gone. And also, while I was under there, we looked at this, which is the remains of the side exit exhaust. This is not ideal, and to be honest, there's not enough silencing in there anyway. But also, there's not a lot of room under this car. The car sits so low, the exhaust has got to be right close up. So what I'm doing today, starting right from the manifold, I'm making a whole new exhaust system. Hopefully it will quieten it down a bit, and hopefully it'll be a bit better. As pretty much always, I'm just working with what I've got around. I've been to the local car accessory shop, and I've bought this length of exhaust tube, and I've got some other bits knocking about. So let's see if I can make a nice, quiet, functioning exhaust. Okay then, so we are under the car, and this is going to be very difficult to see, but there is the exit from the exhaust manifold in the flange, and then I've had to get this tube to come between that solenoid, which is very tight on the starter motor, down. I've got this tacked, got a curve in there, I don't know where that's from, and then what I'm doing is coming across and then down. So from a distance it looks a bit more like this. There we go. And then I can go off towards the back of the car, and this doesn't hang down below the sill of the car, so it drags in the road. This is really tight everywhere. Just here it's very close to the body, but I'll put a piece of flat on it and put a rubber bobbin mount just there, just to hold that so it don't clank against the body. But then once I'm back there, the floor sort of goes up, so absolutely, you know, dead easy. So yeah, exhaust is coming on pretty good. There's a new stainless back box, that's actually off of a motorbike. And then with some stainless bends, we've come up and over the axle there, and all the way along here. And what we had to do, we had to come to sort of to the side, and then we've had to come round, because we couldn't go down the middle because this gearbox cross member hangs way too low. But we've kept all this nice and tucked up, because this is very much a low vehicle. And then I don't know if you can see in there, but the downpipe to the exhaust, you can't really see on camera, but what that was doing, that was catching on this chassis member. So we've arched that over, and now that doesn't catch anymore, and it's made the car a lot quieter. Also, I've replaced a lot of fuel lines because I fitted this. And this is a brand new fuel cell. This is replacing the fuel tank, which in this car is between the boot and the rear seat, and I was never really happy with that. And you know what, I'm sure it leaked a little bit. Could have been my imagination, but you know, it's petrol, so I've took no chances there. We've fitted a fuel cell, nice and safe. That's piped up to the engine, and everything works there. And now, wonder of wonders, we've actually got a fuel gauge. If you watch the video from last time, I put in these spring assisters, and it rode a lot better. It did ride a lot better, but it's still, the suspension bottoms out on the bump stops, and I don't know, it just makes the car seem a bit sketchy going down the road. So these springs were about this long, and I cut them down to this. That's a bit too much. So now I've got these springs, which I've already cut down. I've cut about a coil and a fifth of a coil off. So just to put these together, these give a little bit more travel, and I've already done the other side, and I get about an inch of suspension travel, which should make the car ride a lot better, because it just feels a bit sketchy. Just out of interest, these springs are off the back of a an XJ Jaguar, and they are just about exactly the same diameter of them. A lot of modern springs are really big, but these come off the rear struts. So top tip if you need some springs, back of a Jag. Right, and so I needed some parts for the Standard. So the Standard's a car from 1958, so obviously parts aren't everywhere. Also, the Standard didn't really sell in massive amounts. So, you know, it's not like scrapyards are strewn with them. And what I needed was this. It was a Lockheed master cylinder. And I managed to contact someone and at Classic Car Spares, and I bought one of these. But that isn't really, you know, of any consequence. But when I bought it, it came in this box. It was a brand new, actual Lockheed brake master cylinder. And it even said on the end, standard part, genuine replacement parts for standards or whatever. And it had this super cool old-fashioned like greaseproof paper. It's been there since 1958. Absolutely amazing. And it had all new rubber parts in it. So it was literally like, it wasn't like I'd gone to a spare shop. It's like I travelled through time. Now, what's it? Classic Car Spares, and the man's name, I'm going to put his number up somewhere there. And you can contact him if you want any classic parts. And I also got 4 new brake cylinders for the car from there for old British stuff. The man is unbelievable. So, also, standard problems. Took it for a test drive the other day and got caught in like some quite heavy rain. And I realised you forget in modern cars, because windscreen wipers are so good now and they just always work, how rubbish they are in old cars. And really, I was on the motorway, I thought I was going to die. They are so bad. And then when it stops raining, they just stick. They just stick there, and like you just think, what the hell's going on? And then it starts raining again. You can't turn them back on because they've just stuck to the stickiness of the glass. Absolute rubbish. So I'm going to have to repair or replace the motor. So this is the motor from 1958, made in England, and made by Lucas. And it's, wow, it's rubbish. So I started looking around and I found on eBay this, which is out of a Land Rover, which surely has got to be better. It's got to be a more recent motor than this has got in, and probably not so tired. However, when you buy these things, the actual cogs inside, you know, it moves like a piston on a little crank around a wheel. It moves backwards and forwards, operates a cable, makes your windscreen wipers work. You have to exchange that bit over. So, I was surprised between 1958 and now that these parts fit. And not the old parts, the big gear fits up to the worm gear. This fits, I think, makes it work. And I couldn't have been happier. It all just dropped in. I couldn't have been happier until I tried to get the back on. And as you can see, the back don't fit. Like, this is perfect. It all works. It's just this back bit hasn't got this like bulgy lump in it. So I can't fit that on there. What do? What do you turn to? Do you turn to engineering? Do you turn to plenishing this out with a hammer over days and days? Or do you go to cookware? And as always, cookware rules. So here I've got loads of these little things, and they're like tiny saucepans for, I know, measuring like a really small amount of beans, or even just 1 bean, 2 beans, or a multitude of beans. I don't know anything about cooking. So, tiny saucepan. Tiny saucepan will tack onto there just perfectly, keeping all the greasy goodness in there and all the engine bay dirt out. And if I tack that on there nicely and paint it, it will look like I've done nothing. So let's make that happen now. Okay, so first off, we're going to cut this tiny handle off of this tiny bean saucepan. So, there it is. Not my finest hour of welding, but this is super thin and this is galvanised, so loads of trouble, but ain't going nowhere, and that will keep all the greasy goodness inside the motor and not just all the bits fall out. So now we're going to paint it. So always, because it's bare metal, you just gotta go on with some etch. The new component. Looks pretty factory, except for them scabby welds. But anyway, yeah, looks really good. And it is all because of cookware. Oh yeah, just that put on there. And now, dun, 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 it fits just perfect. And that little crank thing can whiz round in there forevermore and give me great windscreen wipers. Result. Okay then, so that's it for this week. Tune in next week where we're going to be starting to look at the non-standard paint, you know, sorting that paint out on the roof and sorting out some of those paint defects. Also, I'm going to be converting the rear screen of the non-standard to being a piece of bonded glass. So that means forming a whole new rebate, tightening up the rebate around the glass and bonding the glass in. It's going to be awesome, it's going to be great, and you're just going to want to bond all the glass in every old car. Until next time, thank you very much, good night.